I don't do that in the way. I'm using it after a long time, right? Good morning, everyone. I'm Jude, and I'm going to talk about the advantages of web applications over desktop applications. Well, what am I going to cover here is I'm going to speak about the advantages of web applications and the advantages of desktop applications, and then I'm going to say why web applications are more useful in the future when compared to desktop applications. So to start from scratch, you all know what a web application is. It's nothing but a software that runs on a browser, which is created on a browser-supported environment with a combination of JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. And some of the examples of web applications are Google Drive, Dropbox, Facebook, etc. Desktop applications, the desktop applications that are applications that run on a computer or on any hardware, on any standalone hardware that basically depends upon the previously installed drivers in order for the software to run. And some of those examples are Skype, Yahoo Messenger, TeamViewer, etc. So to look at the significant advantages of web development, web applications, it's cost effective, so you don't need to build a web application for each operating system, and it doesn't even need to want it to be tested on every operating system, whether it's going to be work or not, as long as it supports the browser. And it even makes the development and troubleshooting easier for applications that have Flash as a front end. So coming to accessibility, customizability, and interoperability. Based on accessibility wise, you can access a web application anywhere you want, and it's also accessible from any devices as long as you have an internet. And customizability, you can easily update the look and feel of the application according to the user's needs. And when it comes to interoperability, it gives the possibility to integrate between an enterprise system. For example, if you take a shopping cart, and if you see the integrity on that, you can have an integrity between the shopping cart system and the accounting package. So one or two softwares can be integrated in order to reduce the workflow. Sorry, increase the workflow. So installation and maintenance. So on a web application, you don't need to install the application on every single computer, rather than if you just update the server, and if your computer is already upgraded, and if your web browser has already been upgraded with all the plugins required, it automatically gets upgraded. And the same thing, if you require more power to run an application, you don't need to depend on anything. It's just you can run the application on several servers. For example, Google uses several inexpensive Linux servers in order to run the application. So even if one server fails, it can be replaced easily without reducing the power of the application or software. So security. So the since web-based applications are run on their own web server, you don't need to go on and check the security on each and every computer, just because as long as the server is secure, your application is fine, and you can simply work on it on the browser. And flexible core technologies. That is one of the best advantages of web applications compared to the desktop app, because in today's scenario, even a beginner like me, who doesn't really know much of stuff on web application or desktop application, can even create a web application software if you have knowledge on three basic things like J2E, Microsoft.NET, and open source platforms like PHP and MySQL for smaller websites and for smaller applications. So does it mean desktop applications are dead? No, desktop applications are unique as well, and they have their own uniqueness, and they have their own advantages. So when it comes to desktop applications, they are responsiveness, because they don't need to talk to a remote server in order to run the application, because the drivers are pre-installed and they can run on their own. And if you run a web application, you got to pay your hosting costs probably every month and for every year as well. So, but for you don't need to spend money on desktop applications for that. Psychological. Some customers, exactly people like me, I feel happy when I pay money for software and if I own it, rather than depending on something which is on a public, which runs on a public server to run an app. So people are psychologically happy when they have a desktop application and when they pay for it and have it as their own. You have your own privacy on a desktop app, so where you don't need to depend on any server, or you don't need an internet to run or something like that. And its availability, even though there's no internet connection or anything, you still have the software with you. And that's just one upfront payment, as I told before, and there's no extra cost for a desktop application. So these are considered to be some of the advantages of desktop app. So why should I prefer web app is more important and has more advantages than desktop app? And simply because the future mainly depends on web application. Just because it unlocks markets for new software that previously didn't run due to technical problems and technical reasons. So nowadays, since you just a simple web app can run literally on any device which has access to the internet. So many softwares are being developed nowadays, and introduction of web applications, building softwares like Project Polymer, Hoodie, Intel XDK, Offline.js. So these are really helpful because, for example, softwares like Project Polymer, it has all built-in functions. So even a beginner can develop his own new application, and he can hire a website and run his application on the website. So there is more chances for more web applications to come because of the more availability of building your own web app. Cloud computing. This is one of the greatest improvement in web applications. So by 2016, according to, I'll tell you which website it's in the references, sorry. By 2016, about 48 million web applications will be available on iCloud, and more than 50% of the enterprises will have hybrid clouds by 2017. So nowadays, people spend money on buying Windows and everything, but in the future, it's going to be like you'll be spending more money only on buying cloud storage rather than spending money on buying softwares and stuff. And also, according to a poll, so it's based on Tech Republic website. So according to a poll conducted by Tech Republic website of 1,000 people, where 30 people have said desktop apps will go away completely, and 510 people have said that it will phase out or check out, desktop apps will be phased out in favor of web apps and mobile apps in the future. Also, according to Paul Thurrott, a technology podcaster on Supersite for Windows, he has said like how command prompt is used in today's scenario in desktop. We just need a command prompt only when we just want it to be used. So in the same way, a desktop application in future will be optional, and then hereafter, in the far more future, it will just fade away. You won't use web applications at all. So these are the references I have used, and any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.